7 mind games women play when they're sexually attracted to you, and how to win every one, psychology tricks. Love doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers, just to see who's paying attention. When a woman feels a strong sexual pull toward a man, she almost never spells it out directly. Instead, attraction shows up in quieter, more strategic ways through behaviors that test your awareness, confidence, and emotional strength. These are not accidents or mixed signals. They're subtle psychological moves designed to measure how grounded and perceptive you are. She might create moments of uncertainty, push your emotional buttons, or introduce a hint of competition, not to drive you away, but to see how you respond under pressure. Attraction thrives on emotional tension, and these behaviors are her way of turning up the intensity. This isn't manipulation for control. It's attraction looking for depth, challenge, and spark. Most men misread these signals. They assume she's uninterested, playing games for no reason, or slowly fading away. And without realizing it, they step back, losing momentum before anything real can begin. But once you understand what's really happening beneath the surface, everything changes. What looks like distance is often an invitation. What feels like confusion is usually curiosity. She isn't pushing you out of her world. She's seeing if you're strong enough, calm enough, and self-aware enough to step further into it. Today, we're breaking down the 7 mind games women often play when they're sexually attracted to you and exactly how to come out on top in every one of them. 1. The push-pull game. The push-pull game is one of the most misunderstood yet revealing patterns you'll ever notice when a woman feels a genuine spark. And if you learn to read it correctly, it stops feeling like chaos and starts feeling like clarity. Because what looks like mixed signals is often a quiet psychological invitation to see who you really are under pressure. One moment she's leaning in, holding eye contact a second longer than necessary, brushing your arm as if by accident, laughing with warmth that feels personal, and the next moment she cools off, answers slower, creates space, or seems absorbed in her own world, and that sudden shift can feel like emotional vertigo if you don't understand the psychology tricks behind it. Don't panic. Don't rush to explain yourself. Don't assume you did something wrong. Be calm. Be curious. That is the test. In female psychology, attraction is not only about how you look or what you say, it's about how you regulate yourself when uncertainty appears, because emotional steadiness is far more magnetic than constant availability. When she pulls back after showing interest, she is often watching silently to see whether you chase with anxiety, retreat with bitterness, or stay relaxed and grounded in your own frame, and this is where many men lose without realizing it. You must understand that the push creates anticipation, while the pull checks your balance, and together they build tension that keeps interest alive. If you flood her with messages, overanalyze her tone, or try to lock things down too fast, the tension collapses and curiosity fades. But if you stay playful, centered, and present, something subtle shifts inside her. She feels safe exploring attraction because you are not demanding certainty from her before she's ready. This is one of the most powerful psychology tricks at work, and it has nothing to do with manipulation and everything to do with emotional awareness. Be warm when warmth is offered, but don't cling. Enjoy the moment, but don't grip it. When she steps back, stay steady, keep living your life, keep your tone light, because that balance signals confidence without saying a word. In female psychology, confidence is not loud, it's calm. It's the man who doesn't need to win every moment to feel secure. It's the man who understands how to fall in love is not about chasing intensity, but about allowing rhythm. You must resist the urge to label her behavior as confusing or unfair, because once you see the pattern, it becomes an invitation rather than a threat. The push-pull dynamic keeps emotional energy moving, and movement is where attraction breathes. That's why men who remain unaffected by temporary distance often become more intriguing, not less. Don't interrogate her silence. Don't demand reassurance. Be present when she returns, as if nothing was ever at risk, because that nonchalance communicates emotional maturity in a way words never could. This is how to fall in love without losing yourself, and it's why men who understand psychology tricks don't feel controlled by them. They simply observe, respond, and stay rooted. When you master this, you stop trying to win her interest and instead become the environment where interest feels easy. Female psychology responds deeply to men who can hold connection without pressure, closeness without attachment anxiety, and distance without resentment. That is not indifference. That is balance. That is emotional intelligence in action. Be patient. Be playful. Be consistent with who you are. You must remember that attraction grows where curiosity meets safety, and the push-pull game exists to measure exactly that. Once you see it clearly, you no longer feel tested. You feel chosen, because now you know how to fall in love without forcing it, how to read female psychology without fear, and how to let psychology tricks work for you instead of against you. 2. The jealousy trigger. The jealousy trigger is one of the most subtle and revealing moments you will ever experience when attraction is present, and it often arrives disguised as something harmless, almost accidental, which is exactly why it works so well. She casually mentions another guy in conversation, not with drama, just a name dropped into the air. She compliments someone else's style or success. She laughs a little too hard at another man's joke, just enough for you to notice, but not enough to call out. That reaction you feel inside? The tightening in the chest, the sudden alertness, the urge to prove something. That is not an accident. This moment is a mirror. It reflects how you see yourself. Don't rush to react. Don't interrogate her. Don't compete out loud. Be still. Be observant. Be amused. That is the test. In moments like this, she is quietly measuring your emotional control and your sense of self-worth, because nothing reveals a man faster than how he handles perceived competition. If you get defensive, ask sharp questions, or try to subtly one-up the other guy, you communicate insecurity without saying a word, and that instantly cools attraction. But if you remain relaxed, grounded, and even lightly playful, you send a very different message. You know who you are, and you don't need external validation to feel steady. That is what separates a reactive man from a high-value man. A high-value man does not panic when attention briefly shifts. He understands that attention is fluid and confidence is internal. You must remember that the jealousy trigger is not designed to push you away. It is designed to see if you can rise above emotional noise. This is where masculine energy shows itself, not through force or control, but through calm presence and emotional restraint. Masculine energy is quiet certainty. It is the ability to stay centered when others might wobble. When she senses that you are unaffected by the illusion of competition, something powerful happens. Her respect deepens. Her curiosity grows. She begins to feel safe leaning toward you because you are not demanding reassurance at every turn. This is one of the least understood ways to attract women, because many men believe attraction grows through constant pursuit, when in reality it grows through self-possession. The jealousy trigger also heightens desire by subtly increasing perceived value. By introducing the idea that others might be interested, she creates contrast, and contrast sharpens focus. But the goal is not to make you feel small. The goal is to see if you can remain whole. Don't mistake confidence for indifference. Indifference feels cold. Confidence feels warm and unshaken. Smile. Stay engaged. Keep your tone light. You must show that you are present without being possessive, interested without being rattled. That balance is rare, and rarity is attractive. This is why men who truly attract women are not the loudest or the most aggressive. They are the ones who know their worth and act accordingly. A high-value man understands that attraction is not a contest to win, but a connection to allow. He doesn't rush to prove himself because his actions already speak. He doesn't withdraw in silence because he isn't threatened. He stays open, relaxed, and grounded. That is masculine energy at its most effective. When you respond this way, the jealousy trigger stops being a test and becomes a spark, because now she sees that you are not moved by comparison. You must understand that comparison is the enemy of intimacy, and confidence is its antidote. The sweet spot is confidence without distance, strength without stiffness, interest without neediness. This is how to attract women consistently, not through tactics alone, but through emotional maturity. Don't overthink the moment. Don't replay it later in your head. Be present. Be steady. Be yourself, fully and unapologetically. When you do this, the illusion of competition fades, and what remains is something far more compelling: a man who knows his value, holds his center, and invites attraction without forcing it. That is the kind of man women remember. That is the kind of man they choose. If this opened your eyes and gave you a new way to read attraction, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with a man who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more sharp insights into psychology and attraction. Now interact with the channel and lock this lesson into your mind by commenting the sentence below in the comments section. I don't compete for attention, I stay calm and let confidence speak. Write it. Own it. Remember it. 3. The mixed signals test. The mixed signals test is one of the most misunderstood psychological dynamics in modern attraction, yet it has existed for centuries under different names. And once you truly grasp it, you stop guessing and start leading. Because one day she is present, engaged, responsive, laughing easily, replying fast, and the next day she becomes quiet, distant, slower to respond, or emotionally cooler. Not because something suddenly went wrong, but because uncertainty exposes your inner structure. And most men between 35 and 70 fail this moment not from lack of value, but from lack of emotional discipline. Mixed signals are not chaos, they are pressure, and pressure reveals whether your confidence is real or borrowed, whether your self-respect is stable or conditional. Because attraction does not deepen through reassurance seeking, it deepens through grounded presence. And as Marcus Aurelius reminded the world, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do. Only what you do. Which is the backbone of Old Stoic wisdom and the reason calm consistency always wins where emotional reactions fail. In today's world of instant messages, read receipts, and endless comparisons, silence feels louder than ever, but silence is not rejection. It is a test of your internal order. And when attention pulls back, most men either chase too hard, sending extra messages, asking for clarity too soon, or trying to fix something that isn't broken, while others withdraw completely out of pride or frustration. Yet both responses come from the same place: loss of center. While the man who understands the game does neither. He stays steady. He keeps his rhythm. He continues living his life. Because strength is quiet and confidence does not rush. Unpredictability fuels attraction only when it is met with stability, not when it is answered with anxiety. And this is where Stoicism win principles apply directly to modern dating, because emotional restraint is not suppression, it is mastery, and mastery always attracts respect. When she leans in again, the same rule applies. You don't overinvest. You don't accelerate beyond your natural pace. You stay grounded, because extremes kill momentum while steadiness builds trust. And as Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And preparation here means an iron mind trained to stay calm regardless of emotional fluctuations. The mixed signals test is not about winning her approval. It's about proving to yourself that your emotional state is self-governed. Because the moment another person controls your reactions, you lose leverage, peace, and clarity. And in modern life, where many people are uncertain, overstimulated, and testing connections subconsciously, your consistency becomes rare. And rarity creates attraction without effort. This is not manipulation, this is leadership. Because leadership begins with self-command. And Old Stoic wisdom teaches that you never give power to what you cannot control. You only control yourself, your responses, your standards, and your time. Short rule. Repeat it often. No chasing, no sulking, no emotional bargaining. Because calm presence speaks louder than explanations, and patience outperforms urgency every time. The man who passes this test does not seek reassurance, he becomes reassuring. Not through words, but through behavior, tone, and emotional steadiness. And this steadiness creates safety, curiosity, and respect simultaneously. Modern attraction rewards men who are grounded, purposeful, and internally anchored. Men who understand that silence is not a threat and distance is not a verdict. And as Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, which is the core of Stoicism win strategy applied to real life. Repeat the principle until it becomes instinct. Stay centered when attention fades. Stay composed when it returns. Stay focused on your mission. Because mixed signals collapse when there is nothing to destabilize, no insecurity to hook into, no urgency to exploit. An iron mind is calm under pressure, calm in uncertainty, calm in attraction. And that calm becomes magnetic because it signals maturity, experience, and emotional control. Victory here is internal before it is external. Because when you master your reactions, you master the dynamic. And when you master the dynamic, others naturally adjust to your frame, not the other way around. This is Old Stoic wisdom alive in modern dating. This is how Stoicism win moments are built silently. And this is how an iron mind turns uncertainty into advantage, not by forcing outcomes, not by demanding answers, but by remaining so grounded that emotional tests lose their power. And that is how you win, not loudly, not desperately, but decisively, calmly, and on your own terms. 4. The silent treatment play. She suddenly goes quiet, and the silence feels louder than any argument. No texts lighting up your screen, no calls interrupting your thoughts, just empty space where connection used to be. And almost automatically, your mind tries to solve the puzzle, replaying conversations, rereading moments, inventing meanings that were never confirmed. And that uneasy tension in your chest is exactly the reaction this moment is designed to create, because silence has weight. And in female psychology, silence often works as one of those subtle psychology tricks that pulls attention without force, creates emotional pressure without words, and invites you to reveal who you really are when reassurance is removed. But here is the truth you must understand if you want to master how to fall in love without losing yourself. This silence is rarely about punishment and almost never about cruelty. It is about observation. It is about seeing whether you remain centered when the external signal disappears. And you must not confuse quiet with rejection, because reacting as if you are being abandoned is how men undermine their own attraction. So don't rush to fill the gap. Don't send the just checking in message that really means please respond. Don't over-explain your last joke, your last plan, your last intention, because urgency communicates insecurity faster than any confession ever could. Be still. Be steady. Be grounded in your own rhythm, because calm is attractive precisely because it does not demand attention. Silence becomes powerful only when you let it disturb you. And the moment you keep living fully, the moment you stay focused on your work, your health, your routines, your purpose, the silence loses its grip. And that shift is felt even without words. This is where psychology tricks lose their leverage, because female psychology responds strongly to emotional consistency, not emotional scrambling. And when she notices that you didn't chase, didn't collapse into worry, didn't try to pull her back with pressure, curiosity often replaces distance, attraction rebuilds quietly, and interest returns naturally. That is why patience is not passive. Patience is active confidence. It says, I am comfortable with space because I trust my value. And trust is contagious. So carry on with your life without making a show of it. Don't post for reaction. Don't withdraw in bitterness. Don't pretend you don't care. Just live, because nothing is more compelling than a man whose sense of self does not rise and fall with response times. And when she does return, because most often silence ends the way it began, without explanation, without announcement, you must welcome her back warmly, without interrogation, without subtle punishment, without bringing up the gap like a scorecard. Because resentment poisons connection faster than silence ever could. Be present. Be relaxed. Be open. That is how you show emotional maturity without preaching it. And this is especially important for men between 35 and 70, because at this stage attraction deepens not through drama, but through steadiness, through emotional leadership that feels safe and grounded. And learning how to fall in love now is less about chasing sparks and more about sustaining warmth. Remember, these psychology tricks are not about control. They're about testing emotional presence. And when you respond with composure instead of anxiety, you pass without trying. Silence then becomes a mirror, reflecting your stability back to her. And stability is deeply attractive because it suggests reliability, strength, and inner peace. And don't mistake this for playing games of your own. This is not about pretending not to care. This is about caring without clinging, about allowing space without fear, about trusting that genuine interest does not disappear simply because a conversation pauses. Female psychology often leans toward men who can hold space without tension, who don't turn distance into drama, who don't interpret every quiet moment as a threat. And this understanding of psychology tricks gives you an edge not by manipulation, but by self-mastery. So be disciplined with your emotions. Be gentle with your assumptions. Be firm in your self-respect, because attraction grows where there is room to breathe. And when you demonstrate that you can handle silence with grace, you show that you can handle closeness with balance, that you can love without suffocating, that you can connect without losing your footing. This is how to fall in love wisely. This is how female psychology responds with trust and interest. And this is why silence, when met with calm confidence, often works in your favor, not against you, again and again, through quiet strength, clear boundaries, and a life that continues moving forward whether the phone lights up or not. And now it's your move. If you understand that silence is not rejection but a test of self-control, if you know that calm confidence beats panic every time, then prove it to yourself right now. Drop this sentence in the comments. I stay calm, I stay grounded, and I let attraction come to me. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp psychology tricks, and remind yourself daily, real power in female psychology comes from patience, not pressure, and that's how to fall in love without losing who you are. 5. The overattention trick. Here is the same text, kept exactly as is, with only periods and commas adjusted for clarity and flow, without changing any wording. Sometimes she overwhelms you with attention, and at first it feels intoxicating, almost cinematic, like stepping into warm sunlight after a long winter. Because the compliments flow easily, the replies come fast, the interest feels deep and personal, and for a moment it seems like momentum is on your side. But then, almost without warning, it stops. The warmth cools, the messages slow, the energy shifts, and that sudden contrast is not accidental. It is one of the most common psychology tricks used when attraction is present, because inconsistency has a way of gripping the mind, creating emotional attachment through what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. But what matters here is not the label, it is your response. Because most men panic when attention fades. They replay the highs, they chase the feeling, they try to restore what was freely given before, and that is where the test reveals itself. Not in how you receive attention, but in how you stand when it disappears. Don't confuse attention with value. Be clear on that. Attention is a signal, not a foundation, and if you want to grow into a high-value man, you must learn to enjoy attention without leaning on it for emotional balance. Because dependence quietly erodes attraction, while stability quietly strengthens it. And this is where many men stumble, especially those who have spent years working, providing, sacrificing, and suddenly feel seen again. That rush can feel rare and precious, but you must not cling to it. You must not let attention become oxygen, because when it does, you give away your center. The grounded whether attention is high or low. That is the core lesson. When she is engaged, enjoy it fully. Be present, be warm, be responsive, but don't overextend. Don't abandon your routines. Don't rearrange your entire life around availability. Because consistency is more compelling than intensity, and masculine energy is felt most strongly when a man remains rooted in his purpose regardless of emotional fluctuations. That steadiness signals self-respect without needing to announce it. When the attention fades, and it often does, not because attraction vanished, but because curiosity is being measured, you must resist the urge to fill the silence with effort. Don't chase reassurance. Don't demand clarity. Don't try to recreate the peak. Because peaks are meant to rise and fall, and when you stay calm during the dip, you show emotional range without emotional dependence. And that balance is rare, especially among men who mistake pursuit for presence. You must understand this clearly if you want to attract women in a way that lasts. Attraction deepens not when you react, but when you remain steady, because steadiness creates safety, and safety allows desire to grow without pressure. Female interest often responds to a man who can hold attention lightly, who enjoys connection but does not anchor his worth to it. And that is the quiet confidence of a high value man. Not loud, not performative, just consistent. Don't turn attention into a scoreboard. Be aware without being reactive. When compliments arrive, receive them with appreciation, not surprise, not disbelief, not overanalysis. And when they pause, accept the space with the same ease. Because emotional discipline is attractive. It signals maturity, experience, and depth, qualities that become increasingly important as men move through their later decades, where attraction is less about novelty and more about presence. Masculine energy thrives in balance, not extremes. It shows itself in how you lead your own emotional state, how you regulate desire without suppressing it, how you remain open without becoming overinvested. And this is not a game of indifference. It is a practice of self-command, because indifference disconnects, while grounded confidence invites connection to return naturally. Stay engaged with your life. That is not a slogan. It is a strategy. Keep your commitments. Maintain your routines. Protect your focus. When your life remains full, attention becomes a bonus, not a necessity. And that distinction changes how you show up in every interaction. It makes you lighter, clearer, more relaxed, and paradoxically more attractive. Because you are not trying to extract something from the moment. You are simply sharing it. That stability earns respect, and respect fuels desire. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. Because respect grows when a man demonstrates emotional independence without emotional distance. And this is how you attract women who are drawn to calm strength rather than reactive energy. Be patient with the process. Be honest with yourself. You must be willing to examine whether attention makes you feel whole or merely excited. Because excitement fades while wholeness remains. And when you cultivate that inner balance, you no longer fear the ebb and flow of connection. You welcome it as part of the rhythm, knowing that attraction is not built in constant highs, but in how gracefully you move through change. This is not about withholding. Don't do that. It is about holding your center, about enjoying attention without chasing it, about expressing interest without surrendering your footing. And when you do that consistently, you embody the traits of a high-value man. You project masculine energy naturally, and you attract women not through effort, but through presence again and again. Because balance is not just the key to attraction, it is the foundation of lasting desire. 6. The competition setup. When a woman sets up competition around you, mentions admirers, places other men in your orbit, and quietly watches how you respond, understand this clearly. It is not chaos. It is a test of self-command. And the men who win are not the loud ones, not the reactive ones, not the ones who rush to prove anything, but the ones who stand calm, grounded, and certain of their own value. Because in modern life, crowded offices, social media attention, dating apps, mixed social circles, competition is everywhere. And the man who treats it like noise instead of a threat rises above it instantly. As Marcus Aurelius warned, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And that strength shows when you don't stiffen, don't posture, don't interrogate, don't compare, but instead stay relaxed, amused, present, and self-contained, which signals that you are already complete, already chosen, already comfortable being seen without scrambling for approval. Insecurity collapses under pressure because it seeks reassurance, while calm confidence expands because it needs nothing. And that is why you never compete directly. You don't size up the other men. You don't rush to outshine them. You don't change your behavior to win points. You simply carry yourself like the prize, not in arrogance, but in quiet certainty, because attraction responds to stability, not anxiety. And this is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes practical power, reminding you that your job is not to control her environment, but to master your response to it. And when you do that consistently, you Stoicism win without saying a word, Because the man who remains steady in uncertain moments communicates leadership without force. Seneca captured this when he said, "He who is brave is free." And bravery here is emotional bravery, the refusal to be pulled off center by comparison, the refusal to let imagined rivals dictate your mood, your posture, your tone. Because the moment you compete, you place yourself on the same level as everyone else. But the moment you stay grounded, you step above the frame entirely. And in today's world, where attention is fragmented and validation is cheap, this kind of iron mind is rare, memorable, and deeply compelling. Think of it as a silent audit of your inner structure, a moment where you demonstrate whether your sense of worth comes from within or from external confirmation. And the men who pass don't rush. They don't over-explain. They don't claim territory. They simply stay engaged with the moment, speak clearly, listen well, and move with purpose, because purpose is the antidote to jealousy and direction dissolves doubt. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending competition doesn't exist. It's about understanding that competition only has power when you accept its terms, and you don't. Because your standards, your values, your rhythm already guide you. Which is why this test rewards emotional maturity over bravado, patience over impulse, and self-respect over reaction. As Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. And if what you are is a man who trusts his path, his timing, and his presence, then no external setup can shake you. Because you're not auditioning, you're evaluating. You're not chasing, you're choosing. And that shift is everything. In practical terms, this means you stay socially generous. You don't withdraw or sulk. You don't spike your energy to impress. You keep your voice steady, your humor light, your body language open. Because these small signals tell a big story, that you are comfortable being desired without needing to secure it, that you respect yourself enough to let attraction grow naturally, and that confidence, repeated consistently, becomes magnetic. This is how Old Stoic wisdom meets modern psychology, how Stoicism plays out in real rooms with real people, and how an iron mind turns pressure into proof. Because life will always present moments where you're watched more than you're told, tested more than you're challenged, and judged not by what you say, but by how you hold yourself. And the men who master this don't just win attraction, they master life. They move through work, relationships, and uncertainty with the same calm authority, the same inner steadiness, the same quiet certainty that nothing external can grant or take away. Because when you know who you are, competition fades into the background, and what remains is presence, clarity, and the unmistakable energy of a man who is already complete. If you understood this test, you're already separating yourself from the crowd, because most men panic when competition appears, but leaders stay centered, unshaken, and certain of their value. You don't compete. You don't react. You stay calm and let confidence speak. That's how you win. If this message hit home, comment the sentence below to lock it in and signal your mindset to the world. I remain calm, I carry myself like the prize, and I never compete for attention. 7. The hot and cold intensity game. The hot and cold intensity game begins quietly, often disguised as chemistry, when she showers you with warmth, attention, affection, curiosity, and emotional openness, making you feel chosen and deeply seen, and then, without warning, she cools off, becomes less responsive, creates distance, and leaves space filled with silence rather than explanation. And this emotional contrast activates something powerful in the human brain, because unpredictability amplifies desire, and desire fed by inconsistency can feel intoxicating, especially when the highs feel so rewarding that the lows suddenly feel threatening, and most men respond instinctively by chasing the warmth and fearing the distance, trying to restore the emotional high as quickly as possible. But that reaction is exactly where the imbalance begins, because instead of remaining grounded, the man's emotional center starts orbiting her behavior, and the moment that happens, attraction quietly shifts, so don't rush to fix. The silence, don't interrogate the space, and don't assume distance means disinterest, because female psychology is often less about withdrawal and more about testing emotional boundaries. Not as a calculated move, but as a subconscious exploration of whether your sense of self remains intact when the emotional temperature changes. And the real psychology tricks here are not about decoding her every move, but about mastering your internal state. Because consistency in your presence sends a signal, far stronger than intensity ever could, and when you stay calm while she fluctuates, when you remain steady whether she is affectionate or distant, you create a contrast of your own, one that feels safe without being dull and intriguing without being chaotic. And that balance is rare, which makes it magnetic because emotional stability does not kill attraction, it deepens it, allowing excitement to grow without anxiety. And anxiety is what drains desire over time, so be the same man. When she leans in as when she pulls back, speak with clarity instead of urgency, respond with intention instead of reflex, and allow space to exist without filling it with fear. Because how to fall in love is not about emotional pursuit. It is about emotional leadership, and leadership begins with self-regulation, not control, and when your mood does not rise and fall based on her availability, she feels something unexpected, a sense of relief mixed with curiosity because she is no longer carrying the emotional weight of managing your reactions, and that relief creates room for desire to breathe, and desire thrives in spaces that feel light, grounded, and emotionally clean. So don't mirror the highs and crash during the lows. Don't reward inconsistency with overinvestment, and don't punish warmth with withdrawal, because extremes keep the game alive while balance gently ends it. And the moment you stop riding the emotional roller coaster, something shifts in her perception. Because she begins to wonder why your presence feels calm instead of consuming, why conversations feel easy instead of charged, why being around you feels energizing rather than draining, and that curiosity is powerful. Because curiosity invites connection without pressure, and pressure is the fastest way to suffocate attraction, especially as relationships mature. And this is where many men misunderstand female psychology by assuming attraction grows through intensity alone, when in reality, intensity without stability becomes exhausting, and stability without warmth becomes flat. So the goal is not emotional distance, but emotional consistency, which means being engaged without being dependent, interested without being anxious, and present without being reactive, because when you demonstrate that your inner state is self-sustained, she experiences you as someone solid, someone safe, someone exciting in a quiet, confident way, and that combination allows deeper attachment too. Form naturally, not through force or strategy, but through trust, and trust grows when a woman feels that her closeness is welcomed, but not required for your emotional balance, because being welcomed feels chosen, and being required feels heavy. And excitement paired with emotional safety is the foundation of lasting attraction, which is why these psychology tricks only hold power over men who abandon their center, and why the moment you stop reacting and start responding, the game loses its grip, transforming unpredictability into connection and connection into genuine intimacy. And as you maintain this steady presence, you also protect yourself, because how to fall in love without losing yourself requires boundaries that are calm, not rigid, and confidence that is quiet, not performative. And when you hold that line, you are no longer chasing attention, no longer decoding silence, no longer trying to win emotional approval. You are simply offering your presence and allowing her to choose it freely. And that freedom is deeply attractive because it removes pressure from both sides and replaces it with mutual interest, mutual respect, and mutual curiosity, which is the cleanest expression of female psychology. The most effective use of psychology tricks without manipulation, and the most sustainable path to attraction that grows instead of burns out. Because in the end, the man who stays centered while emotions fluctuate becomes the anchor, not by force, not by control, but by consistency, and consistency, quietly and reliably, is what turns emotional tension into emotional trust, and trust into desire that lasts. Hey, my friend, I'm really glad you stayed with me until the very end. Before you go, let me leave you with something real, something you can actually carry with you into your daily life. All 7 of these mind games come from one deep, unspoken question in her heart. Is this man strong enough to stay steady when emotions rise? These behaviors are not accidents. They are not confusion. They are not manipulation for no reason. They are filters. Women are not looking for men who react too fast, explain too much, or lose themselves trying to be chosen. They are watching how you handle pressure. They are watching whether you stay calm or collapse emotionally. Here is my sincere advice to you, and listen carefully to this part. Stop trying to beat the game. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop taking everything personally. The moment you stop fighting, you start winning. A grounded man doesn't chase energy, he sets it. He doesn't panic when things feel uncertain. He doesn't cling when attention pulls away. He doesn't crumble when tested. And that calm strength? It speaks louder than words. It creates safety. It creates curiosity. It creates attraction that goes deeper than surface-level desire. When you understand the psychology instead of reacting emotionally, everything changes. You walk slower. You speak less, but with more weight. You listen more. You trust yourself more. And that's when you become rare. Not loud, not aggressive, not desperate, just solid. Remember this one truth as you move forward. A man who controls his emotions controls the moment. And a man who stays centered under pressure becomes unforgettable. If this message helped you see things more clearly, stay connected with the channel. We're here to grow stronger, wiser, and more confident together. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.